Hey, fall in. Once again, you're listening to World Combat Sports. What is good? Salute to each and every one of you that pull up, tune in each and every time you get the notification. You know what it is, all love. Salute World Combat Sports in the building. This is a Muddy Flats edition. If you don't know what that is MMA, y'all. Muddy Flats is the MMA of combat sports. Yes. That's what it is. The Muddy Flats is back on deck, and we're going to talk about some situations that's going down that you need to be informed about. You know what I'm saying? And who better to do it than the one and only World Combat Sports? If you're in the building, hit the like button, show love, support. Like I said before, it may not be your primary sport that you want to tune into, but maybe if I cover it, you'll support the channel and kind of get some input to a sport that's rising extremely fast, man. Mixed martial arts is here to stay. It ain't no question. Mixed martial arts ain't going anywhere. Whether it's a UFC, Bellator, PFL, IFL, all these existing neighboring organizations or promotions. I mean, the sport isn't going anywhere. It's growing, it's evolving, and it's just amazing to watch how it keeps on just transcending year after year after year. My starting point today is to speak on this Bellator MMA light heavyweight championship World Grand Prix. It's gonna be a banger, man. You know why this shit's gonna be fire? Because it has some names that's been in the sport for a long time. Not only that, some of the names you're going to see in this lineup are basically individuals that you may have seen compete on a different level. You might have seen them in the UFC, the Bellator, back to the UFC. You might have seen them in other promotions such as Strike Force. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's no telling. But we all know a lot of these promotions have phased themselves out. You only primarily see, certain promotions such as the UFC and Bellator. But you need to understand that I like what Bellator is doing. You don't see that in the UFC, but they're throwing a Grand Prix again. That's what I liked about the Strike Force. That them tournaments that they used to throw over there. I like that shit. This tournament kicking off April 9th, man. I mean, if you're looking at my thumbnail to the left, you have two very important fights. And what I like about tournaments is that you get a designated opponent. You know who the fuck you stepping in there with. No ifs, ands, or buts. You know who you stepping in there with. So the first fight, who do we got? Let me set y'all straight right quick, man. Let me put y'all up here. Show y'all something right quick. So peep this out. This fight right here, Ryan Bader, who's 27-6. You know what I'm saying? Former UFC fighter. Left the organization. He did okay in the UFC, but he lost to some big names, and he had some success with some pretty decent names. He will be facing Yoel Machida. Both of these guys are world champions. You know what I'm saying? Both of these guys have been in the position of world champions, and this what makes this really good matchup because both of them have once upon a time contended in the UFC. Yoel Machida brought back that karate style. And, he was showing people that, hey, you too, you believe in your art. You can make it to the top like me. Well, it lasted for a period of time before John Jones shut that shit down. But, Yoel Machida, man, a lot of people call him a legend. I don't know about that. But in mixed martial arts, you can be quickly called a legend just off the respect of the game. But April 9th, this will be the first fight that you would tune in to. Ryan Bader versus Yoel Machida. Ryan Bader versus Yoel Machida. Ryan Bader 27-6, Yoel Machida 26-10. A slight difference, a slight difference in height. Bader 6'2", Yoel Machida 6'1". Look at the weight. 265 pounds is from Bader fighting at heavyweight. Yoel Machida is in at 205, which is a light heavyweight scale. You know what I'm saying? Bader's USA, and of course, Yoel Machida is Brazil. So that's going to be a very exciting fight, man. Can't say enough about it. Both of them been champions, and furthermore, when it comes down to it, Ryan Bader was able to lead the UFC and complete a achievement that he probably never would have been able to do in the UFC. He went to Bellator and ended up becoming light heavyweight and heavyweight champion. The same feat that Daniel Cormier was able to do in the UFC. Ryan Bader was able to do this, in the Bellator arena. So I want to salute Ryan Bader for, having a more stellar career outside of the UFC and going over here to Bellator and getting it done. And, basically elevating the status of his career as a mixed martial artist. So be sure to tune in for that fight. The second fight is going to be the one and only Anthony Rumble Johnson. Listen, Anthony Rumble Johnson makes his return. His last fight in the octagon, as some people call it, cage, was his loss against Daniel Cormier. I think that shit was 2017, wasn't it? That was his second loss, man, to the same person. He will be first facing Yoel Romero. This is going to be an incredible, this is going to be an incredible fight, man. There's so much history that's going on between these two. Once again, two individuals that competed inside the UFC cage. Top level elite fighters. Both were striving to become world champions. Wasn't able to get it done. This is why the energy and the courage is going to be so much higher for these two, because now they're in the Bellator, they're able to attempt to compete to become the Grand Prix champion, which would allow them to achieve something they wasn't able to achieve in the UFC. This is huge. Let's start with Yoel Romero. The reason why I'm starting with him because he's the newest signee to Bellator. What can we say about Yoel Romero? Stellar Olympian pedigree wrestler, all right, for Cuba. Came over to the UFC, highly hyped, touted. They're coming to the UFC, man. People was just looking for him to come over here and just dominate. Like this is a freak of nature right here, Yoel Romero. I'm not going to lie to you. He's a freak of nature when it comes to explosiveness. Just being very clever and smart with his striking. Very, very athletic fighter who's always in shape. But he's one of those fighters who only, fires off in spurts, man. He's not a continuous killer. Now, of course, if he gets you hurt, yeah, he's gonna pounce on you. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna keep that energy. He's gonna keep his presence known, and he's gonna push it. But most of the time, Yoel Romero has been in some boring fights. Some of his fights have been exciting, but with the big names, when he was supposed to shine, he didn't shine enough. I mean, Yoel Romero should have shined so bright that people were just in awe, because we know what he possesses as a fighter. Dude is fucking unbelievable. 13 wins, 5 victories. Within those 13, within those 5 losses, right? Let's talk about who he lost to. Israel Adesanya, who's the current middleweight champion. Paulo Costa. You know what I'm saying? He lost to Robert Whittaker twice. twice. And that was for the championship. He lost to Robert Whittaker twice, man. Like you're saying to yourself, dude, you know, like we're talking about Yoel Romero, man. Robert Whittaker was, you know, a rugby player turned mixed martial artist. Yoel Romero, like I said, had that Olympic wrestling pedigree. He couldn't be fucked with. People was like, damn, this dude right here coming out of there, man, he's gonna be a problem within that organization. But he never could really get it done. They call him the soldier of God, y'all. Yoel Romero has only lost via punches once in his career. And you know who had the pleasure of doing that, which shocked the fuck out of me? Was Rafael Fejal Cavalcante. They call him Fejal. That was way back in 2011. I was like, besides that, you know, Yoel Romero, man, when he finally, you know, defeated Chris Weidman. You remember when he set Chris Weidman up, right? It was exactly the same way that Jorge Masvidal set up Ben Askren. I'm telling you, I can give you comparison reflections all day long. This is how he did it. Ben Askren was a known wrestler, man. You know, you pull a reaction out of him, and then you can set him up with a counter. Both of these fights damn near ended the same. Yoel Romero, known Chris Weidman wanted to take him down and prove that he was a better wrestler. Why was Chris Weidman trying to do that? Because of, like I said before, Yoel Romero's wrestling pedigree in the Olympics. So he wanted to prove he's a better wrestler, and Weidman can actually wrestle. He can actually wrestle, y'all, respectfully. So during that fight, Weidman, you know, went to the well a little bit too much. And it was beautifully set up by Yoel Romero. And once he changed levels, Yoel Romero exploded with a flying knee, man. Split Chris Weidman open like a fresh cantaloupe. He was bleeding all over the place. The fight was over. I mean, split him bad, did him dirty. Did him dirty. One of the best knees that you would ever see in mixed martial arts that comes out of nowhere. It was just like pulling a rabbit out the fucking hat. Yoel Romero, man, he goes up there at the top 5, in my opinion, flying knees. But anyway, when he faced Robert Whittaker, he couldn't get it done. I don't know what the fuck happened with Paulo Costa. He just didn't show up. And then he finally gets this shot, man. You know, with Israel Adesanya, it's his time once again. He's getting all these chances to become champion, and he can't get it done. And he goes in there and he loses a unanimous decision. And I'm saying to myself, what the fuck is going on with this dude? Why can't he dare win the big fights, man? What's going on? You know what I'm saying? Anthony Rumble Johnson, man. For those of you that know Anthony Rumble Johnson, man, he is arguably one of the hardest hitting light heavyweights in the game. Pretty much one of the hardest hitters in the sport of mixed martial arts, per se. I can't really rank him because he's been out the sport for quite some time, but Anthony Rumble Johnson has been in there with some big names, and he was one of those guys. Like, this matchup right here is so perfect because both of them were striving to become world champions, and they had the gift. God blessed them with something. You know what I'm saying? He blessed Yoel Romero with athleticism, and he blessed Rumble Johnson with some athleticism, but pure punching power. You know what I'm saying? So in his rise in the UFC, you never would have thought that at one point in time, you know, Anthony Rumble Johnson, you know, fought at the weight he did, at the weight he fought at. You know, you're talking about a big dude. But at one point in time, he fought at 170. He fought at 170, man. This dude is freaking huge. Huge. At one point in time, he was making 170, y'all. But what is unique about Anthony Rumble Johnson is the fact that The man record, as I told you before, 22-6. 5 of his 6 losses all came by way of rear naked choke. Seriously, this man, if he has any type of weakness in his mixed martial arts game, outside of the pure punching power that God blessed him with, is him defending the rear naked choke. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just incredible how Daniel Cormier was able to sub him out twice in their matches. Twice. First time, Rumble went into I think the second round, third round. He made it to the third round with Daniel Cormier and landed some bombs. And then the rematch, he was subbed out in the second round. You know what I'm saying? So the third time, of course, he was in there with Brazilian Vitor Belfort. Bellator subbed him out in the first round. Then when he was at welterweight, Josh Koscheck, if any one of y'all remember, you know what I'm saying? The old heads that was watching the sport back then. Josh Koscheck subbed him out with an RNC in the second round. And then, the only other time that he was subbed out in the UFC was from Rich Clemente. And Rich Clemente was, a promising individual, vet in the game, had so many, he had several losses, but he was one of those tough competitors, like a Jim Miller's, of mixed martial arts. He was one of those guys. Kev Swanson, these guys, Cowboy Cerrone. He was a vet of the game, had over 30 mixed martial arts bouts. And he subbed Anthony Rumble Johnson out in 2 rounds. I say all that to say this. This matchup right here, y'all better keep y'all eyes open and lean in close. Y'all better stay close. This right here, this fight, look, I'm telling you, it's a lot about this matchup that I don't see going wrong. Like, both of these cats are stupid strong. Like, both of them, they come in shape, more so Yoel Romero. Both of them have pretty decent wrestling. And at any given time, one punch can change the game. They have punching power. If I was to give the edge to who's the strongest in punching power, it would be Rumble Johnson, period. But if I have to provide you with a percentage of who do I believe has the better all-around skill set, Yoel Romero. But once again, third of all, I have to bless y'all with this common denominator from both of these guys. When they get their opponent on the ground, they don't even attempt submissions. Like, what am I talking about? Like, these guys will hurt their opponent and they just do GMP, ground and pound. These guys really don't try to sink in submissions on their opposition once they get them on the canvas, once they hurt them. Yoel Romero, crazy wrestler. He gets his opponent on the ground, he just punches them. It's not like he don't know jiu-jitsu. He don't use it. It's weird. Same with Rumble Johnson. He gets his opponent on the ground. He don't try to attempt a submission. He's going to try to damn beat your head through the canvas. So that's what's going to make this fight very, very interesting and entertaining, because they're first on deck. You know what I'm saying? Ryan Bader and Lyoto Machida, and then Anthony Johnson, Yoel Romero. If you look at their weights, it's because they contend at light heavyweight. And like I said before, Ryan Bader's weight is much higher from the stats that you see with Lyoto Machida, because he's contended at heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? Anthony Johnson's record is 22-6. 5 of those losses have been via submission. And then Yoel Romero, his 5 losses has came with 4 of those a bit against big names in the sport. Even Rafael Fajar Cavalcante, right? I mean, he's a pretty decent name in mixed martial arts, believe it or not. But what I'm talking about as far as Yoel Romero, the Robert Whitakers of the new era, you know what I'm saying? The Paulo Costa, the Israel Adesanya. 4 out of his 5 is came in the new era of mixed martial arts. Seriously. And then some of the losses that Anthony Johnson received is from an older class of individuals when they was competing. But yeah, keep your eye out, man. This motherfucker right here, Anthony Rumble Johnson, Yoel Soldier of God Romero, that shit is going to be absolutely hellbound. Serious. All the goddamn energy is going to come to a vortex, and that shit's going to explode. So keep your eyes tuned for that. For real. Let me get back. What's good? HLD in the building. Salute to you. J8. What's good? Salute. That Rumble Johnson, Yoel Romero will be a great fight. Absolutely, man. Bellator roster is solid, probably at its best right now. Man, you have never ever lied for that. Bellator right now is cooking. And that's why I'm trying to tell people, I'm like, man, y'all have to stay close to this Bellator. Don't just look at the UFC, man. Look at what Bellator is doing. They're throwing another Grand Prix. I like Grand Prix. I like tournaments. I like tournaments in boxing. But Dana doesn't really agree with tournaments. Blueprint Sports, what's good, man? Glad to see Bellator giving an ex-UFC star good matchups. Yes, man. And I haven't even started on the other side yet. You know, I mean the other names is going to be popping off. I haven't even got to those yet. Which boxing had a Grand Prix tournament like that? I agree, man. Big Dog in the building. Salute to you. Next, of course, we have the man Phil Davis. And I'm trying to pull up. Hold up. I'm trying to pull up the next fighters. Let me see. I'm trying to pull up the next. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna share this right quick. I'm gonna show you the other 2 fights that's going to be taking place, which are great. These other 2 fights is just as freaking good, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. These fights that's coming up. Hold up, that's not what I wanted. Hold up. So here's the other 2 fights, right? Hopefully I was able to see the other ones, but maybe not. But now you should be able, you should be good. Nemkov right now is the champion. All right, he was able to defeat Ryan Bader. By the end, Nemkov, right? 12-2, 6 feet tall, 205 pounds, Russian. He can fight. I like his style, man. He's a tough dude. You know, he's in there with the fighter that he fought already, in Phil Davis. He was able to get he was able to earn a split decision, so forth, over Phil Davis. Phil Davis, of course, is a former UFC fighter. I would be honest with you. Phil Davis has improved leaps and bounds from being in the UFC and then coming over to Bellator and the way he performed. Totally different fighter. He's 22-5, 6'2", and he's at the light heavyweight scales at 205 pounds. Of course, USA, right? These two have fought before. This will be a rematch. But for Phil Davis, this is the weird thing about his fighting style. He can wrestle his ass off, man. But it's almost like what I say about Yoel Romero. He can wrestle his ass off too. But you see Yoel Romero being taken down for no damn reason. Like, I'm not saying Phil Davis is like that, but Phil Davis, he doesn't like to use his wrestling as much as he should. He wants to try to stand and strike and use his kicks and punches combinations. You know, he don't try to, and you know what? It's a good and a bad to the way he's getting it. It's good and bad because a lot of people know him from his wrestling. But just like BJJ practitioner, world champions, they want to go in there and show a different wrinkle to their game. And that's what Phil Davis tries to do. But sometimes he's in a position where you say, okay, how the fuck are you in that position and you have all that wrestling pedigree? That's the same thing I say about Yoel Romero. How can you allow Chris Weidman and them cats to take you down and you are a much more stellar wrestler than that? Like, you know, they'll get taken down and then just get back up to their feet, no problem. Like you don't have any takedown defense. Yeah, you do. You have takedown defense. But Phil Davis, man, in the past, he has been like pointed to as a boring fighter sometime. I ain't gonna lie. When he was in the UFC, I was like, damn, this dude is boring. And, you know, all respect to Antonio Tarver, but I was like, God damn, he's Antonio Tarver of mixed martial arts, man. You know, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm like, damn, this dude has the ability to do more, but he just don't. He's gonna be in there with the guy he faced already in Nemkov. Nemkov is the champion right now. So at the end of the day, this tournament designates an opponent for you. And regardless if you champion or not, this tournament, if Nemkov is able to win this tournament, he will be and still. If not, it's going to be and new. That's what I love about the tournaments. You know who you're facing and you have a scheduled date. Love it, man. On to the next fighter, Corey Anderson against Yagshimuradov. Yagshimuradov. I'm just going to call him Muradov, right? People say Muradov. Let's say Muradov. It sounds a bit better. Muradov is going in there against Anderson. Anderson is also one of the newest UFC fighters to come over and change over into the Bellator arena. The UFC let him go. Basically left the UFC because, you know, he had his ups and downs. He feel like he can get more money. They wasn't really paying him attention for what he's worth. You know how fighters get. They say, man, I'm better than what you think I am. And then, you know, Dana be like, well, you know, you lost this fight to so-and-so and you did this, but I'm getting better though. Just give me time. It's so many fighters in the queue. It's hard to stay over there at the UFC and having bumps in the road. So Corey Anderson found himself, hey, it's time for me to go over here to Bellator. I'm not going to say Bellator is the second best. I don't like that because I know a lot of fighters over there that's competing and they're elite fighters. I would say the shouldering organization. You know, they shoulder and shoulder. Really, they are. Like Bellator has his good points and UFC have their good points. Of course, UFC is the creme de la creme right now because that's the way they built their foundation. They built the motherfucking fortress to be the best there is. They basically simply monetized. Now, I wouldn't say monetized. They monopolized mixed martial arts. That's what the UFC did. And then, you know, they bought out some other organizations, man, to limit the competition. You know, who remember WEC, World Extreme Championship? Yeah, man. Even the champions, some of the champions over there was able to cross over to the UFC, man, and fight for a belt. But anyway, let me give you some background on Corey Anderson. Because this guy right here has made incredible improvements. Oh, but he's had some, times where you just say to yourself, damn. So Corey Anderson is 14-5, right? I think the fight that did it in 2020 for Dana White was the fact that he was knocked out by Juan Blachowicz. Yes, the same Juan Blachowicz who beat Dominique Cruz for John Jones' vacant light heavyweight title. He was knocked out in the first round, people. Like, this is after he was on a 4-fight win streak. He had defeated Patrick Cummings, Glover Teixeira, Latifi, Johnny Walker. He shut down Johnny Walker's hype train. I mean, he was at the elevated point where he was like, hell yeah, I'm finally got my momentum down. My mojo's good. I'm great. He stepped in there with Juan Blachowicz. Juan Blachowicz had more losses than Corey Anderson. And he stops him in one freaking round. I think that did it for Dana White. He has a win over Mauricio Shogun Hua, Jimmy Manawa, OSP. I mean, come on, man. I mean, he has the last losses to them, OSP and Jimmy Manawa and Mauricio Shogun Hua. He has the losses, but after that last loss to OSP, he had 4 wins until he was knocked out cold by Juan Blachowicz. He left, and in November, he made his debut over there at Bellator against Melvin Manhoef. And those of you that know him, I mean, the dude is extremely entertaining to watch, high energy, and he was able to stop him in 2 rounds, which was a good look for him. But now he's in the tournament, and that's the biggest part of it. Corey Anderson, if he goes over here and win the tournament, it's going to show a lot to the UFC in a sense that maybe they shouldn't have gave up on him so much. But when you get knocked out in the fashion that Corey Anderson, I mean, it's almost like the names that you lost to in the UFC, they was just accumulating. And then you had the little 4-fight win streak, and then it's time for you, after you shut down Johnny Walker, to step in there with Juan Blachowicz, another rising talent. And that rising talent stops you like you stopped Johnny Walker. Juan Blachowicz shuts down Corey Anderson like Corey Anderson shut down Johnny Walker. He's in here with a tough fighter and Muradov, man. But one thing Corey Anderson got is motherfucking gas tank. Corey Anderson got a motherfucking gas tank, dog. Don't even trip. He has the petrol for you. And we have to see how his chin hold up against Muradov. And also for Muradov, how his chin is. You know what I'm saying? I see him wearing a beard. Both of these dudes wearing a beard. We're going to see who beard the best. Muradov is 5'11", Corey Anderson 6'3". A Turk fighter versus USA. So, man, keep your eyes open for these 2 fights right here, man. Like I said before, if I had to choose which one was going to be the best out of these 2, I would say this one right here, Corey Anderson and Muradov, because Corey, he's over in Bellator to prove that he's an elite fighter. You know what I'm saying? He's in there to show the people that I belong here. Because when you leave the UFC, everybody know you over there. Look, these MMA fans, they know. These fighters know where you're coming from. That's Corey Anderson from the UFC. He just, came off that damn first round knockout to Juan Blachowicz. They know who he is. So keep your eyes tuned for that. You know what I'm saying? Just stay close. Next on the thumbnail, right? I have to speak on this brewing rivalry that's been out here with Kamaru Usman and Jorge Masvidal. How do I start off? Kamaru Usman is one of those fighters where I will admit to you without any freaking hesitation that I didn't have no goddamn faith in this guy. Like he was boring as shit. He reminded me of Phil Davis. I ain't gonna lie, man. Like Kamaru Usman back then, he was so boring. He was just wrestling motherfuckers and leaning on them against the cage. I mean, he just wasn't an exciting fighter at all. I'm gonna be honest with you. And when he was going in there against Tyrone Woodley, I was saying to myself, shit, Tyrone should be good. You know, he should be good. He should be able to match the wrestling ability of Kamaru Usman. And plus, for those of you that don't know, man, Usman, he hasn't lost since he's been in the UFC. He hasn't lost yet. He has one loss on his record, and that was outside the organization. That was in CFA. But understand something. The run since the Ultimate Fighter that Kamaru Usman has been able to accolade into wins is amazing. I'm not gonna lie. Like what he's been able to do since going on this win streak and stepping in there finally after defeating two big names, right? Damian Maia, aka the Backpack, Rafael dos Anjos. He finally steps in there with Tyron Woodley. And I say, God damn it, Tyron Woodley, the chosen one, you got this shit, dog. You got it, man. This dude is boring. Boom, he goes in there and clinic. He gives Tyron Woodley a clinic. I mean, just beat him at his own game, wrestling, locking up, takedowns, controlling the top position. It was just wicked. Then he has this ongoing feud, very, very personal feud with Colby Covington. We all know Colby was up in the White House using all this political agenda shit and bleeding it over into mixed martial arts. He was up there, you know, taking pictures with the former, that guy, and, you know, bringing that over into the UFC. I mean, he made it very personal. So I was like, all right, cool. I like this shit. Fuck it. You know, I'm still not a Kamaru Usman fan at this point. I'm like, nah, let's see how he does against Colby Covington, because I know Colby has good wrestling too, but I think his boxing was better than Usman. So they step in there, and both of these guys have the same freaking record. They both 15-1, the same record. And it was a very exciting fight, man. You know, both of these guys, it wasn't too much wrestling. It was a lot of stand-up game, punching. That's why I say boxing and mixed martial arts is different, because you can get in a how you put it, you can get in a situation where you very comfortable and complacent, and you're throwing punch combinations in mixed martial arts, and you can just get in the mood to believe in that. Okay, so-and-so has committed to throwing punches the entire fight. And before you know it, they change levels. They lock in, they take you for a ride, and they get a takedown. Because consciously, a mixed martial artist, even though they're boxing, they still have to have awareness and be alert to the possible takedown. Because just because you fought the first 2 rounds, stand up, punches, kicks, doesn't mean your opponent's not going to say, I'm going to switch this shit up on his ass. Watch. You know, goddamn, get them all nice and cozy and think we're just going to have this striking game. And then in the final 20 seconds, I'm going to go for a takedown on. You know, that's the mindset. They still have to be alert and vigilant on a fucking takedown. So it wasn't too much of that shit going on between Usman and Covington, and Usman ended up breaking Kobe's jaw. And that was a real solid build up between these two. Like, Usman, he has a problem. He need to get with somebody, a trash talking coach. That's what I was saying, right? I said you need to get with a coach that can. I mean, how you put it? You need to hire someone who's not for public speaking, but someone who can, a PR type of person that can enhance, your trash talking ability to the public. Because I just felt like Kobe Covington was drowning him in the promo, but he went in there and broke Kobe's jaw, right? And then he's due to step in there with Gilbert Burns, a 3-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion, right? ADCC. Gilbert catches COVID. And then all of a sudden, Jorge Masvidal, who's, he had a history with, they was about to fight in a motherfucking hotel. They don't like each other one bit. Jorge Masvidal, a legend, really. I'm not gonna lie, a street legend, a goon. Motherfucker changed over to mixed martial arts, took a lot of fights for a paycheck while he was learning the craft. That's why you look at his record, he has double-digit losses. And right now, Kamaru Usman's talking shit to him. But anyway, Gilbert Burns caught COVID-19 and Jorge Masvidal stepped in last minute. And it's almost like I still didn't see Jorge Masvidal, fight life or death, man. After all the trash talking. Like, Jorge Masvidal is that guy that you don't fuck with. He will punch you in the face. Even with your girl. Your girl can be right there. You talking shit to Jorge, he gonna goddamn fuck you up. Just ask Leon Edwards. Just ask any dude off the street when Jorge was fighting on the street. Jorge's that dude. Legitimate, certified. But I have to keep it a hundo when I'm saying that he didn't come in here and fight like a guy who's been around for a while. Like, he was fighting safe. He didn't want to get knocked the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what I felt with him taking that fight on short notice. So his loss was like, okay, I lost, but the shit was on short notice. I wasn't in shape. So he lost again. His 14th loss again. Another loss. That was his 14th loss. Down full circle from July 2020 to freaking February 2021. Kamaru Usman steps in there with Gilbert Burns, the opponent that he was supposed to face instead of Jorge Masvidal. Gilbert Burns ended up coming down, tested positive for COVID. Gilbert Burns, like I said, is a multi-time BJJ world champion who has improved his boxing game tremendously. He took a bad loss in the UFC being stopped. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, I always factor that in. Styles make fights. Can Kamaru Usman hurt Gilbert Burns with punches? Yes. Can Gilbert Burns return and basically hurt Kamaru Usman in the same fashion? Absolutely. And it played out that way. Both of them, Gilbert Burns drew first blood. He hurt, Kamaru Usman with a right hand, a counter right hand, which was beautiful. But then, being the champion he is, Kamaru Usman turns the fight around, uses his jab, man. Amazing. The timing on that motherfucker was straight out the showroom. I'm telling that timepiece was on the bezel. That jab, he was fucking Gilbert up with the jab. And when Gilbert went down, he ended up being stopped with punches. Now, shout out to Gilbert Burns, man. I'm trying to have him on the show, man. I got his number in my phone. I'm trying to talk to him after, he get over this, because this loss was deep for him. I had his brother Herbert on here. So I really want to have Gilbert, and so he can talk about, his fight. And, I want to hear what was going on. I want his assessment of his performance of the fight. Absolutely, man. It's educating for me to hear what a fighter was thinking in a championship fight like that, because that's what Gilbert Burns had been waiting on. That's what he's been waiting on, man. So he lost at a lighter weight and moved up to a heavier weight. He had some success. You know what I'm saying? So now he had the opportunity to finally, get his shot at the champion Kamaru Usman. But check this out. The before stepping in there with Kamaru Usman, he had lost to Dan Hooker in 2018. That's how long it had been. You know what I'm saying? That was at 155 pounds, of course. And he had lost round one via punches. All the way from there, 2018, July, all the way up, working himself up, winning. He finally earned a shot by defeating Tyrone Woodley. The common opponents that him and Kamaru Usman had was Damian Maia. Okay. Kamaru Usman had Damian Maia. Gilbert Burns fought Damian Maia, and Tyrone Woodley fought Damian Maia. Out of the three, Tyrone Woodley did it the worst. Why? Because he just basically stuffed the takedown attempts of Damian Maia. So that kind of told the story right there. But to be honest with you, Gilbert Burns, whew, god damn. Gilbert Burns stopped Damian Maia in the first fucking round, y'all. Then he went in there and just blitzed Tyrone Woodley. I thought Gilbert Burns did it better than Kamaru Usman when they defeated Tyrone Woodley. I thought Gilbert Burns' performance was much better because he was able to drop Tyrone Woodley. You know what I'm saying? He was able to put him in positions where he was very vulnerable and potentially the fight could have been stopped. That's the wild part about this. The Jorge Masvidal fight, this is do or die for Jorge Masvidal's legacy as a mixed martial artist. And I'm going to tell you why. Jorge Masvidal has a history with Kamaru Usman. Jorge Masvidal was able to go in here and shock the motherfucking world. You know what I'm saying? We all know what the fuck I'm talking about. Jorge went in there against Ben Askren, who was coming off a win, 19-0, undefeated. One of the goofiest mixed martial artists you will ever see in your life. The trash talk was great. The lead up was awesome. You know what I'm saying? He stepped in there with Ben Askren, who really had a weird type of fan club. Like he's this goofy type of elite wrestler, but also he can fight too. Like looking at Ben Askren, he'll fuck you up. Seriously, Ben Askren's a goofy curly haired dude, red hair, putting on a goddamn flannel shirt with a damn hat on and shit, with some freaking shades and looking all goofy walking down the street, and somebody might try him. And that'd be the worst mistake. But Jorge Masvidal stepped in there with him in 2019 and set him up beautifully. He pulled the reaction that he wanted from an initial blitz from the opening bell. He actually sprinted towards Ben Askren to pull that reaction as a wrestler to change levels and brace himself and go for the takedown. That's what he's done, and it's become second nature to Ben Askren over and over again, right? And he landed a flying knee, and he knocked him out cold. Like, I don't know if you was watching, but it's the same type of knockout, but it was much better than the one we just seen with Corey Sandhagen and my boy Frankie the Answer Edgar. Oh my God. Both of these knees, like, I'm looking at the Yoel Romero knee. I'm looking at the Michael Venom Page, Chris Cyborg knee. You know, I'm looking at the Jorge Masvidal and Ben Askren knee again. I'm taking some of the best knees you will ever see, and you have to rank this knee at the top. Like you have to rank 5 seconds on how he was able to pull out that reaction of Ben Askren and drop him. And look, Jorge Masvidal at that point in time, man, he earned so many new fans that people's like, okay, he the real deal. So Dana said, okay, cool. Let me put him in there with somebody that, you know, is somewhat in his position. You know, a very elite fighter, but still working their way for a title shot, right? So he put him in there with Nate Diaz. Both of these guys have double-digit losses. Both of these guys can bring the entertainment value, but come up short. And he went in there and he really fucked Nate Diaz up. And he ended up getting a stoppage. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like that head kick that he hit Nate Diaz, man, motherfucking Diaz is tough as shit. That shin kick to the head would have fucked a lot of guys up, and the fight would have been stopped. But the fight was ended up stopped from a cut because Nate Diaz has a lot of scar tissue. He's taken a lot of punishment in his career, and the fight was stopped in the 3rd round. Now, this is where his legacy plays a huge, I'm talking about a huge part in people looking at him as one of the pure legends to ever do the sport. Like from the street to the cage, from the street to the motherfucking cage. He took the fight against Kamaru Usman on short notice. So if you're provided the opportunity to come back in here with a full camp, you need to come back in here with a full camp and go in there and put Kamaru Usman in a position that he hasn't been in. You need to make this an all-out motherfucking war. This fight has to be Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman 3 times over. Or else people are going to look at you like you're just a journeyman in the sport. You have the bravado and the looks for people to tune into, like Nate Diaz and shit. You know, Nick Diaz. It's fighters in there that has that look about them that brings people attention, right? If you go in there and you are provided the same performance and you lose to Kamaru Usman, people are going to say, oh, man, you know, Jorge Masvidal, he's only good enough to come in 2nd place, man. He can fight his ass off, but when it comes to elite competition, he's not that dude. This is a legacy fight, man. This is his opportunity. You knocked out Ben Askren in 5 seconds. You stopped Colby Covington Nate Diaz in 3 rounds. What's next? What's next? You're 35-14 right now. You need to go ahead and get this win. Jorge Masvidal finally becomes champion and dethrone Kamaru Usman. He's on a whole nother planet when it comes to freaking UFC promotion. You know, the way his fans identify him on the elite status of mixed martial arts, the way he will be remembered. This is the fight. A guy who was just not too recent being called boring, talking about he was only 30% and all this other bullshit Kamaru Usman was talking about. Now I'm shaking my head like, damn, Nigerian Nightmare is a problem. That's what he says. He said, I'm a problem. I was saying, no, you're not. But now he is. That's the evolution of mixed martial arts, man. Motherfucking Kamaru Usman is a problem right now. And in the welterweight division, man, he's cleaning motherfuckers out. He's cleaning motherfuckers out, dog. Real talk. He's cleaning them out. And Jorge Masvidal, in order for him to stop the train, it starts right here, right now, with Kamaru Usman. Because at the end of the day, Kamaru Usman has defeated Kobe Covington, who's ranked number 1. He's defeated Gilbert Burns, as of recently, stopped him. Leon Edwards, man, he's floating around across the pond, all this other shit, having problems, man. He's just losing a lot of vigor with the fans. They just, man, they say, man, this dude is never gonna do anything. He ain't gonna get the title shot. Anyway, skipping over, we have Jorge Masvidal. He's ranked 4th in the welterweight division. That's what we want to see next. That's what Dana White is going to make because it sells tickets. Jorge Masvidal still sells tickets. Now, think about everybody else beneath him. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Michael Chiesa, Tyrone Woodley, Damian Maia, Neil Magny, Vicente Luque, Geoff Neal. I mean, come on, man. Robbie Lawler is still 15th. Robbie Lawler is still ranked 15th in the welterweight division. Why don't this guy just retire so they can remove your name off the list, Robbie? So it's only 2 credible names right now left before Kamaru Usman is forced to do something drastic. Him move up and face someone like Israel Adesanya. Seriously. Because if he defeats Jorge Masvidal again, then Dana White might say, well, either 1, we're going to get Kobe Covington a rematch. 2, they might say, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, okay, you've earned your spot. Because Stephen Wonderboy Thompson went in there twice with Tyrone Woodley and couldn't get it done. And then he had one of the most boringest matches ever against Darren Till. I mean, absolutely psychologically depressing when it comes to boredom. Look at the dare. If you up one night and you can't get sleepy and you just up here like wide awake for no fucking reason, go on YouTube and watch Stephen Wonderboy Thompson Darren Till fight. That shit will not only put you to sleep, but it'll make your body feel like you took 2 Ambiens with a shot of tequila. You'll be up here snoring, drooling on yourself and everything, how boring that fight was. Anyway, that's the only people that I see. And then, 3rd, if I really want to be a little bit like over the top, temporary, just giving people opportunities, I'll include a Leon Edwards or Michael Chiesa. Besides that ain't it. So you got Jorge Masvidal first and foremost, right? Or a Kobe Covington rematch, because both of these guys has been in there with him, but Jorge Masvidal went the distance. Kobe Covington didn't. So you have Kobe Covington, Jorge Masvidal, and then Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And then I could be a little petty and say Michael Chiesa. I don't think Michael Chiesa is ready for Kamaru Usman, but there you have it. That's at the welterweight division, 170 pounds. If he defeats Jorge Masvidal again and then fights Kobe Covington in a rematch, beat him, then he has to do something else. Seriously. I don't see them giving Neil Magny a shot. He's already defeated freaking Damian Maia. You know what I'm saying? He's defeated Tyrone Woodley. Tyrone Woodley. You want to hear a true fact from somebody? Of course, World Combat Sports. You want to hear a true fact, y'all, about Tyrone Woodley's losing streak? Tyrone Woodley made a song, "I Beat Your Ass." He hasn't won since releasing that single, dog. Like Tyrone Woodley. Oh my God, dog. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But ever since releasing that shit, he has not won. I'll beat your ass to the white meat. I'll beat your ass. I mean, the song was hitting a little bit. Like I say, he hasn't won. You know what I'm saying? So keep your eyes out for this build-up, man. The Bellator Grand Prix, light heavyweight division. You know what I'm saying? I pretty much put the um I put the damn the lineup, the tournament bracket up there for you. You know, you have Bader facing Machida. Then you have Anderson facing Muradov. You have Nemkov facing Davis. And then, of course, I think the most impactful fight in qualification would be Anthony Rumble Johnson and Yoel Romero. I mean, that in itself, man, would be incredible fight right there. Not to take anything away from Machida and Bader, but Machida is much older now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm curious to know, how durable he is right now. And then, like I told you about Anderson, both of these guys, man, I don't see this fight going the distance. Both of them will have their chin tested in this fight because that's the style they have. So we'll see how they play out. What else we have? That's all I have to talk about. You know, I'm not staying on here long because I'm about to go in here and support my girl Serena Williams, an Australian. Yeah, I'm a huge tennis fan for real. You know, I like that 15 love, 30 love. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. That's the most seductive scoring system in sports right now. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a tennis player, you don't want to be the one that's love, of course. But God damn it, come on now. Deuce. Advantage. 15 love. 30 love. You know what I'm saying? 40 love. Deuce. Game point. I mean, come on, man. That tennis shit, that has a whole different aura, man. But I'm gonna be watching Serena Williams. She going up against Osaka. And it's gonna be a good fight. I mean, a good match, good tennis match. And what else in mixed martial arts before I close this out for the Muddy Flats edition? You know, I know not too many people like it, but you got to learn to tune in just to learn about some of the fighters that you might not have awareness about. It's something else I want. Oh, yeah. Let me pull this up right quick. Hold up. This one I'm gonna end it with for sure. This one I'm gonna end it with. Where is it? I know you up here. Let me. I wanna briefly touch on this because I'm not gonna take too long on it. Real talk. If I even, took the time to freaking download the shit, just hold up right quick. I just want to touch on this right quick because appreciate everyone who pulled up, man. You know, I know everybody don't tune in to the Muddy Flats, but I do. Okay, let me go pull this. Hold on for a second. I'm gonna pull it off my Facebook right quick. Just give me a minute. We're gonna make this happen. Max Holloway is live. Okay. Hold up. If I even put the picture up here. Okay. And also, to those of you that may not know, I do have a Facebook page, World Combat Sports, and I run a group also, the same, World Combat Sports. And be sure you check out Boxing and Guns. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna be one of the largest groups, man. I'm telling you, a lot of people are tuning in to that. I think it's Guns and Boxing. My fault. Guns and Boxing. Go check out that group, man. The founder is Michael Williams Sr. He started the group. So go check out that group, man, Guns and Boxing, and check it out, you know, and request to join. Hold on for a second. I know this shit is up here. Let me see. I might just save it for another time, okay? Let me see. Give me a minute. I'm gonna see if the thumbnail up here that I'm looking for. If not, I'm just gonna speak on. Okay, it's not up here. Forget it. And I'll save it for another day. All right. I'm just gonna close this out with this. I recently heard that Devin Haney and freaking Samson, the promoter for Javier Fortuna, met up again out of the clear blue, when they was on TBV and they started talking about the fight. If you probably heard already, the speculation is that in April, Haney was going to be facing Jorge Linares, which Jorge Linares has been stopped several times already. And I'm saying to myself, okay, people look at that however they choose to. But it came together again where, they was talking and doing all the paperwork and I like it. Javier Fortuna jumped on there. I like that shit. He jumped on there and said he was the boogeyman of the division. And then, Bill said what he said. And then Javier's promoter jumped on there and said that, he said it was lies that Bill was talking about, but both of them was, dropping their receipts and everything. So it came to a point where, they was trying to once again say the fight was going to happen now. You know what I'm saying? The fight is going to be made. And then a figure came out to make a bet, that put some money on it. Bill said put 200,000 on it. And then he said, I don't bet on it like that, but and then he said put 50,000. They end up supposedly, how motherfuckers be capping. They put 50,000 on the winner. You know what I'm saying? I just put 50,000 on the winner and make a copy of a check. Now, a part of me, I don't really get all warm and fuzzy on this shit. Like when people make bets online and make bets on a fight, just make the fight. Just do the purse and make the fight. We've heard fighters out here before making bets. We heard Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence talking about $1 million. But what's $1 million when shit ain't happening? So if you look, let me see. I'm gonna show you the thumbnail that's out here. All right. It's been floating around. You know what I'm saying? The thumbnail's been floating around. Of this supposedly $50,000 check, which I don't really, at the end of the day, I really don't get into money and all that shit because it's not my money. So it's nothing gets me all flabbergasted to start talking about other people's money, especially when it's dealing with, in this particular case, where they're just going to bet on who's winning or whatever. But let me show you what I'm talking about as far as the thumbnail. All right. I'm going to pull this up right quick. I had to send it over. There we go. So here we go, people. Here is the supposed check that these individuals, Bill Haney and Samson Likowicz, or what have you, they basically sent this as confirmation for 50,000. to this fight. This right here, I'm guessing, it's supposed to say that 50,000 bet was made, which to them as fighters, man, that's small money. You know what I'm saying? That's very small money at the end of the day, very small. But $50,000 is still good money for the average people. So keep your eyes out and see if this fight actually happens. See if this fight actually goes down, and we get a change of names for the lineup for Haney's next fight, and see what happens. If it's still in April, of course, that means Javier Fortuna need to get his ass in the gym, because why are we going to pay attention to this fight? And it's going to be a short fight camp. So if we still keeping the same date, and we know Haney them are keeping the same date, it's February 17th, right? So you're talking about, man, are we gonna get a full 8? We on the edge, like we're right on the cusp, for him to get an 8. But really, it's some cats that get shorter training camps to that. It's still ample amount of time, in my opinion, for Javier to get in shape. You know what I'm saying? He shouldn't be that out of shape, out of the gym, that he has to drop a whole lot of weight and all this other shit. He should be good to go. But keep your eyes out for, Javier Fortuna and that potential fight with Devin Haney. We'll see how that floats on the horizon. You know what I'm saying? Tone Brown in the building. Salute to you. Say salute WCS. Who you got winning the featherweight and light heavyweight Grand Prix in Bellator? See, I was just, pretty much talking about the light heavyweight, but, talking about that featherweight Grand Prix, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was gonna say that to a different live because it's already, ongoing. But I don't know, man. It's a lot of good names in that Grand Prix. To be honest, it's a lot of good names. I really don't know. I have to research these Grand Prix, especially the featherweight division, where the fighters are much more faster and shit like that. I don't have an answer for you with the featherweights. I know it's gonna be a damn good tournament. It is. It's gonna be a damn good tournament. But as far as this light heavyweight division goes, if I had to pick 2 people who I believe that may be the finalists in this, I would put my money on Ryan Bader. I would put my money on Ryan Bader and, man, as much as I don't want, I would say Corey Anderson. But a dark horse that's in here, if he shows up better than he's ever fought, would be Nemkov. It might be Nemkov and Ryan Bader. You know what I'm saying? Because Nemkov has beat Ryan Bader already in a split decision. So it might be Nemkov in the. I don't know, but I would say the top 3 is either Ryan Bader. If I got to give you my top 2, the finalists. I'm thinking it's going to be Corey Anderson and Ryan Bader. It's just something about Corey Anderson, what he has to prove over here. I just think the man he has a psychological mindset that's different. It's calibrated different right now. He got shit to prove. Ryan Bader's been at the top already. He's been champ, light heavyweight and heavyweight. I mean, dude has showed up over here in Bellator. And the only third participant that I put in there is Nemkov. That's it. That's because he's champion already. That's the only thing I can tell you. I can't tell you anything outside of that. Like, I believe it's going to be Ryan Bader and Corey Anderson in the final. The alternate who could potentially slide in there is Nemkov, in my opinion. But right now, Corey Anderson has got a lot that, you know, he want to show the world. He want to show people that, hey, this is who I am over here. I'm not washed up. I'm good. Show me my respect, and that's what it is. So that's what we might get, man. Shit. But besides that, what else is popping, man? I'm definitely going to talk about the Miguel Berchelt and Oscar Valdez tomorrow. Also, I want to be known once again. Death to free smoke and the YTBC. The shit is all fake, and you know, don't let yourself get wrapped in there as a grown adult. You know, death to the YTBC and the free smoke. It's not even smoke and mirrors. You know, it's just a way for people to, you know, goddamn have a lot of controversy and prejudice, racism, and people just sit up there and disrespect one another. And it's totally healthy. I mean, totally unhealthy for boxing in general. So I'll be honest with you, you're not going to see me on any free smoke sessions. It's just a waste of time, man. You know, I got people who look at me too, like it's just a waste of time. But anyway, I'm going to jump on here tomorrow and talk about this Miguel Berchelt and Oscar Valdez fight, which I appreciate. I think it's going to be a damn good fight. I'm going for my boy Oscar. You know what I'm saying? I'm going for Oscar, man. Oscar is tough. You know, both of these guys can get touched up on the chin and get dropped in this fight. So, man, I'm looking forward. I'm going for my boy Oscar, period. I'm going for Oscar Valdez. And the shit that's popping off with, you know, freaking Jamel Herring and Carl Frampton. And did y'all hear what Bomac said? Did y'all hear what Bomac said? Let me read you what Bomac said in reference to Carl Frampton hurting his hand. Cause you know the team Bomac, they don't be holding no punches when it comes to this shit. He said, I was actually hearing about this honestly for the last 2 or 3 days. The rumors Herring told boxing scene. This Jamel Herring. MTK was frustrated because promoter Frank Warren's side hasn't been keeping us in the loop about much. We were still literally last week trying to get plane tickets to go over to the UK. I think it's some bullshit. All of a sudden, Frampton hurt his hand. You're right, Brian Bomac McIntyre, Herring's trainer and manager, told Boxing Scene on Tuesday night. We didn't even receive flights or anything before we were supposed to leave. And then we got no flights. And all of a sudden he hurts his hand. Get the fuck out of here. I don't know what they doing over there. Last week, I asked top-ranked Chief Operating Officer Brad Jacobs if ESPN was going to pick up the fight. And he just said straight out, no. I'm not trying to be cute or anything, but we're not. I was like, okay. That's how fucked up. Look at that. That's how fucked up boxing can be. Brian goes on to say, we didn't have shit. They wasn't even going to show the fight, dog. Dude just straight up said, no, we weren't going to show it. That's man, you gotta sell yourself in boxing. You have to sell yourself, or else you might get treated like you a piece of garbage, man. He said, from what I hear, Top Rank is moving forward with the fight now. So we'll see, McIntyre said. So, okay, if they're moving forward with the fight, we'll see if Shakur Stevenson is in there, or they'll put a soft touch in there. They grab somebody from the back of the line. Because, hey, if you want to recover this fight for the attention of the audience, goddamn grab Shakur Stevenson and put him in there with Jamel Herring. Being that they trained together and all that shit before, yeah, do that shit. He said, I've been told it would be pushed back to March 27th. We can just go off what MTK is saying. As of now, in terms of Frank Warren, I can't really say much on that because we haven't really gotten much from them throughout their entire buildup, to be honest with you. Hami Colin hit me up Tuesday and said they're taking over the fight and they're going to put more emphasis on Top Rank to do their part as well. We'll definitely get the fight. I'm not going to stress. I'm not worried. I've been through worse. My trainer's probably more upset than anyone on the team because he knows we put in a lot of work and he feels like this is the best training camp I've had. My team is taking it a lot harder than I am. I'm okay. And that's coming from Jamel Herring, of course. Devil Dog. Shout out to you, Simplified Delis. You know what it is. For the most part, my team will put me back a little bit as you were. I'm going to use a military term, as you were. For the most part, my team will pull me back a little bit so I don't completely overtrain and do too much to jeopardize my performance in the future. This is what Herring said. Herring is 22-2, 10 knockouts. He's 35 years old, southpaw from New York. You know what I'm saying? Frampton is 28-2, 16 knockouts. And he's 33 years old. So both of these guys are close in age from Northern Ireland. Both of these guys are close in age. He said, my eye is fine. I bounced back really strong. There have been no setbacks with my health or that issue, Herring said. Because, Herring was complaining about his eye the last fight. And, over there, boy, my eye, stop the fight. I mean, that was one of the most weirdest fights I've seen, bro. Like, if you can't fight on, then you lose via RTD or something like that, TKO. But he was able to retain his title, which was weird to me. He said, I've been good, looking real strong in camp. Of course, I have Terrence Crawford here with me, and he's been pushing me. When you're doing the hard work and things like this happen, it's disappointing. But at the same time, we're all professionals, and no matter what, we will get past this and move forward. I was already in my weight range. I was already in my weight range about 3 days ago. So I was already there. You know me. I always maintain my discipline. For the most, I'm not worried about rescheduling the fight because, like Bomac said, we've been here before. But this time around, I'm not sick. I'm fully healthy. I'm strong. We know he had injuries in the past, so I'm giving him the reasonable doubt over this, Herring said. I'm not saying he may be trying to run away from the fight. From what I've been told by MTK, he actually is the one who actually begged that the fight wouldn't get canceled or completely thrown away. So who are we to believe, people? Who are we to believe? Is Carl Frampton truly hurt? Is it something, another underlining issue? You tell me. I don't know. Hey, I'm picking Oscar Valdez, man, because I like his style, first of all. I like his heart. Seriously, I like his heart, grit. I like Oscar as a person in general. Spoken with him several times. I just like how tough he is. You know what I'm saying? The man jaw was broken by Scott Quigg, and hey, he did what he had to do. He showed that heart, man. Tone said Top Rank needs to move on from trying to reschedule the fight and give Shakur a shot. Talk to him, man. For real. I agree. Sir Senior in the building. Salute to you, man. Cooking with Sir Senior. Hey, I feel you, bro. I feel you on that. Changed up the title. I feel you. Yeah, but man, y'all keep close to that fight, man. Real talk. We're still trying to figure out, if Shakur Stevenson may get a shot at the title in the second division. And this could potentially save this fight the right way. Shakur Stevenson is a blossoming star in the sport of boxing. For him to potentially go in there and contend against a worthy champion in Jamel Herring, it will be great for boxing. Seriously, it will. Because now what we rarely see, first, we have two black fighters that have been world champions in there. They have trained together. All right. And they're in a pretty decent division right now. I would say solid. It's better than decent. Solid. The reason why I was saying it was decent because of the shit that happened with Jojo Diaz. So you have Miguel Burchett and Oscar Valdez popping off for the WBC strap. And then whoever Gervonta Davis choose to fight next. And then on the WBO side, you have Jamel Herring, man, and whoever he's going to fight. If they're going to push the damn schedule back to March, man, it'll be a little bit disappointing, but okay, I get it. But then in the interim, if Jamel wants to check, and he wants to step in the ring, being, you saying this is your best training camp ever, put Shakur Stevenson in there. Keep the fight. I mean, Shakur's been calling for this fight. He think he's ready. He know he's ready. Put him in there. Y'all know each other. Let's go. It's no, like Shakur said, it's no friends in boxing. It's a business when we step in that ring. We can hug it up after the fight. But right now, I really want to go in there and fight. And that'll be a good fight. Man, real talk. Stevenson versus Herring. Oh man, I think that'll be a damn good competitive fight, man. Seriously, it'll come down to boxing. I'm talking about technical. I mean, I don't see no dirty shit going on, but who has the better game plan and strategy between these two? They know each other very well. That's why it would be good to see these two step in the ring. And for the situation that's going on with Pacquiao and his 40 million bid, I think Pacquiao may be smoking on that good Filipino Kush. You need to stop trying to be a motherfucking emperor on your way out the door, like you're royalty, and you can just sit up here while we're in a pandemic and try to damn drain the rest of the freaking the little recovery that we do have in the reservoir, trying to fill that shit back up. Manny Pacquiao trying to drain that shit dry again. 40 million, bro? You trying to send motherfuckers in foreclosure. 40 million? The fight, and you're a champion in recess? Just do us a favor. Be reasonable. Come on, man. Be reasonable, dog. If we can make this fight between you and Terrence Crawford, let's make the shit. We don't need all that other stuff that's popping off. We don't want that. Let's make the damn fight, because it'll be a good fight. It'll allow Terrence Crawford to have a name that his peers don't have. You know what I'm saying? Besides Keith Thurman. Sean Porter ain't been in there with Pac. Errol Spence ain't been in with Pac. It'll give a little bit of open space, breathing room for people to put a little bit more respect on Terrence Crawford's resume at welterweight. Put old ass antiquated Pacquiao in that motherfucker with 8 divisions. And if you go in there and dust them and stop them, people are going to be up here talking shit. But I'm going to be on here like, nah, shut the fuck up. Because y'all was saying he should fight somebody. And then if Errol Spence was fighting, y'all would have said, oh, shit. Yes, Errol Spence does it again, man. He has Pacquiao on his resume now. He should be pound for pound in front of Crawford. They're going to be saying all that bullshit. Nope. Let's make this fight happen with Terrence Crawford, with Pac. Not for no damn 40 million, Pac. Stop bullshitting yourself and be reasonable. Chop that down, and then let's get this fight on the way. Let's do it. That's all we want to see. And for Ryan Garcia, you continue to be the capper. Cappy on and capping on. You go ahead and continue to be Mr. Capper. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to fight somebody. If it's Gervonta Davis, go ahead. I will be there front and center, rooting for you to get slapped. Just like Dillian White. You go right ahead and sign up for that ass whooping, because you're gonna get that shit. You want the anesthesia? You're going to get the anesthesia straight from Baltimore, goddammit. You want it, you're going to get it. Don't worry about waking up and having a post-fight conference. I guarantee you, after you step out there with Gervonta Davis, it's not going to be like, oh, you know what? Oh, man, I said to myself, wow, I got dropped. I say, wow, that's cool. No, your team going to be like, Ryan, it's not okay for you to do a post-fight interview, bro. Come on back here to the damn dressing room. Let's relax. Get your mind back. Do not get in front of the mic. Don't. Shut your ass up. You barely even know where the fuck you at right now. We asked you where you at, and you was up here talking about Venus and Pluto. Stop it. Get that Gervonta Davis work if that's the case. I don't want to see him stepping in there with no Manny Pacquiao. And I'm going to mention, I'm going to talk on Adrian Broner and Giovanni Santiago tomorrow. Of course, Adrian Broner, man, he's been out the sport damn near 2 years. There's a lot of underlining situations outside of the ring that that weighs heavy on him having this fight. But I'm hoping the best for Adrian going in here, man. 14-0 is his opponent, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this. No excuses, no drum line saying that Adrian Broner should let his hands go. I don't want to hear none of that shit. We've heard all this. I did it for the hood. I beat that boy. We want to see right now, if you're rededicated and you go in here and get it popping. I'm not even gonna say it. I don't want to hear nothing about your hands. I just want you to go in here and put on a motherfucking show. I don't see too much promotion on this shit. I just saw a flyer come out. They ain't showing him too much love. But I'm gonna tell you, at the end of the day, man, I want to see Broner go in there and succeed, put you back on the map, and then schedule that next fight. We need to keep Broner active. We need to keep him important, important for the right reasons. And that reason is right now getting back into the ring, getting a win, and moving on to your next opponent. You feel me? So for everyone that tuned in, though, appreciate you for pulling up. Subscribe to the channel. I know it's the muddy flats, but I got to do it. It's going to be times where I'm talking about mixed martial arts. That's absolutely, what I do. So I appreciate the ones that pulled up, man, and tuned in. You know what I'm saying? I'll be back on here tomorrow. And y'all continue to support World Combat Sports.